Well, hi everyone, and welcome to another truck hardware installation tutorial. Today we're installing universal Gatorback Mud Flaps on a 2014 Ford F-150. The universal Gatorback Mud Flap is a fantastic product, and it is just as it sounds, a universal flap. The downside of that is it can be a little more challenging to install. And so today we're going to walk you through what that looks like. The mud flap is made of heavy-duty virgin rubber. It has hidden T-nuts, which is going to protect from rusting, and it's also made in Canada. Well, this installation will be broken down into 4 basic parts: height, alignment, drilling, and fastening. In addition, there'll be a few minor steps, but for the most part, those are the 4 you need to remember. With all that in mind, remember, this video is intended to be a companion to the instructions provided and not a standalone. It's intended to help direct and guide and hopefully problem solve any potential issues on your path to installing your brand new Gatorback mud flaps. Begin by raising the back of the truck with an automotive jack or removing the wheel entirely. This step should help give you enough room to work. Next, if equipped, remove the factory mud flaps. On this F-150, we removed the 2 top screws and put them aside. Below that, there should be a final push plug or screw that will need to be removed before the entire assembly can be detached. If it had a bolt, reinstall it after the stock flap assembly is off. Next, determine the height you'd like for your mud flaps. To do this, you'll likely need to lower the vehicle again if you used a jack in the first step. In this case, we've decided to use the optional support bracket. You can find a part number for the bracket in the video description below. The support bracket is intended to provide additional structure and better contact points for installations where the vehicle has little to no lining in the wheel well. As you can see from the image and the video, this F-150 has almost nothing to mount a heavy-duty mud flap to. The bracket makes the install easier and the final product more secure. One of the key features of the rear Gatorback universal flaps is their height adjustable. Depending on the height you need, there'll be 2 sets of holes on the rear flaps. The included bracket works with either set of holes on the flap. Once you've determined a height, drill out the corresponding holes on the flap and install the bracket using included hardware. With the bracket now attached to the flap, move the entire assembly into position on the vehicle. Using provided fasteners, bolt the bracket into place as demonstrated in the video. Do not, however, fully tighten the fasteners yet. More adjustment is likely needed. With the assembly roughly in place, find something to wedge between the bracket and the tire. In our case, we made use of a block of wood. This step is, again, subjective and uses a combination of your eyes and some form of a level or a square. There's no one uniform alignment for every vehicle, so take your time to make sure you're happy with the look, and most importantly, that the mud flap is giving the best coverage. The next step, as you can see in the video, is to tighten up the furthest fastener before working your way to the next 2 with a wrench and a socket. Continue to check your alignment and ensure everything is where you want it as you move forward and tighten more fasteners. Next, carefully insert a self-tapping screw and washer through the top of the flap and into the wheel lip. Before proceeding, double check your alignment. Also, make sure where you're drilling there's a good amount of metal to bite into with the self-tapping screw. Now that all the existing fasteners have been tightened, we can go ahead and install another self-tapping screw into the wheel well lip. The next fasteners make use of existing holes and the existing hardware from the factory flaps as we removed in step 1. You need to be very sure of your location before drilling the necessary hole in the flap. Once your holes are made, reinstall the factory screws you set aside at the beginning. Repeat as needed for the final fastener. And that's it, guys. Installation is done and your mud flap should be installed. We hope this installation video is helpful, and thanks again for choosing Truck Hardware.